So I think it's about time that we finish this portal and then get off of this island here, even though we have made a lot of progress with our production. Now the merchant here still wants some things for copper processing, and then that'll let us get access to the alchemy table, which should get us to the last stage of this portal. So let's just switch one of these over to planks. And then all the water that gets kicked out can immediately go back into it. And thankfully, other materials that were out in the open before are still here. So the table can get filled right up very quickly. And there is still an upgrade available to us here that isn't in place yet. And I think what we might want is to start getting towards click hardness. At least we can get it lined up because that also takes the copper processing. And the other thing that you want is steel beams. So we can keep this one up here like it is. And then this one can be switched over to the vials, since the glass that's here is going to be needed for those stuff, but thankfully not too many. And then we top up the water in the plank maker. So we have 20 of the planks that we need so far. And we do have a copper ingot that's just out here in the open, but it is time that we get some more steel beams in the works. So that means a lot of iron ore to be collected. So we fill up all of these iron ingot makers, or I guess just the one that we have. And I just realized that these steel ingots need the iron ore, so let's just dump all these out here and put them in the correct machine this time. So it's entirely full, and then we can fill up the rest, like this one down here. Now it's collecting all the wood to make the charcoal again. The vicious cycle resumes. So both of these can make a lot of charcoal and sometimes get kicked into the fuel thing. Not quite what we want there, but these files here can go towards that, and we should probably resume the glass production as well. Although there is a file way out here for whatever reason, so we dedicate a whole bunch of wood to making ash as well, and we're starting to get some more steel beams for the things. And let's put some of this charcoal into the supply there, and then the rest can be in the actual processing itself. And then we just need a bit more glass to make the files needed. So hopefully this is enough, and all this charcoal down here is going to be very good for production. But the charcoal production should not slow down ever, since so many things need it now. And the fact that she needs 10 steel beams is kind of crazy. And then for the planks, she just needs 8 more. I'm actually not sure what the merchant is besides from a merchant, but as long as they're a merchant, then we'll do business. Now this should be all the planks that are needed, and then some. Who knows what else we're gonna need these for, but now it's all about steel beam production. So we need 30 steel ingots, which is a lot. But thankfully, now we have all the glass for all the files needed. So that goes right into the obelisk. And then we make sure all the charcoal burners are going. It's a real shame that we need 4 wood to make a charcoal. That goes through the wood supply like crazy. I do wonder if this means that we should start increasing the supply of the buildings, but I feel like 25 is a good number all around. Now, hopefully the copper supplies that we need, the wires and the pipes, don't require a whole lot of things to get going aside from obviously copper. But if they need something like glass, then I'm gonna have a few concerns. But now we have 2 more here, just need 3 more. 15 more steel ingots, and I think if we focus on this steel smelter here, then we can do that. Although they do take a while, so that's the whole reason that we have more than one of these in the first place. And there's actually a steel ingot in the beam creator in the first place, so we have all the ones that we need. Then we just wait for those to finish, and then we can move on to unlocking the alchemy table, which also requires the copper stuff. And I think it is this building that, yeah, where you make the copper sheets and the pipes, and the wire, and also crystal dust, but we don't have access to that crystal yet, because that's what we need the click hardness for, because it was click hardness for. But here we go, the last 3 of these, and now we have copper processing. So instead of files, we can set up each of these things. And then what is needed for the alchemy table, which actually is close to the last blueprint that the trader has. So you want copper ingots, crystal, and glass. Okay, so the click hardness comes first. So copper wire is made with, just copper ingots. And then what is the copper pipe made with? Also copper ingots, just more of them. It's actually pretty easy to do. So all of these steel ingot makers, we can switch over to copper ingots, because hopefully we're done with steel for a while, even though we do still have a lot of iron ore in here. Well, let's just put the iron ore in here, so we can have plenty of iron ingots that we don't know what to do with. And then you also want glass. And it's actually just glass, not even glass files. And we just seen 1 more here. That's honestly annoying. I would much rather we need a lot rather than exactly 1, because it's a whole process just to get that 1. But thankfully we can get that 1. So that's the glass taken care of. Here you go. And also planks, so we can get that going again, along with the extras that we had from the last one. And here's a copper ingot over here. Go ahead. And now let's go over and collect all of that copper ore that we need. Which was it, this one? Yeah, it was this one. Thankfully, it's not too much slower than the iron ore, so we should have plenty for both smelters. Copper ingot goes in there. It takes 2 to create an ingot, but I think that's what it is for the rest of them, so it's not too surprising. And that is still 12 copper ingots on a single batch. So we can make our first copper wire, of which we need 10. So just 20 ingots for that? That's not bad at all. So first copper wire can go in. Excellent. So now that both of these have stopped going, we can see that we do have 22 ingots, which goes a lot better into the copper wire smelting, even though I don't think we need to put all of them in there, since we just need 9 there, and then you don't even want copper wires, you just want the ingots. So we can finish off your request for this really quickly. Oh, just one more. Really quickly. And then I totally forgot about the need of water for the planks, so that would explain why those aren't there at all. But then all of these copper wires, oh, we actually made too much. But at least the alchemy table still wants them. So we can hold on to this one, and then the rest of the ingots can go into making copper pipes, of which we can make 5 at a time. That's not bad. And then we could also probably put some of the budget towards the portal stage here, which I feel like the next one is where we need the crystals. But the first copper pipe is made, so that can go to the obelisk. And then some of you were suggesting that we move the charcoal smelters up to the wood thing, so it's not so much back and forth to make it, but then it's a back and forth to bring the charcoal down here. And I like that idea about as much as just keeping them here. Now looking ahead, the alchemy table also wants these files here, so we should probably resume the glass production. At least it's not the most urgent thing. And here go the rest of the planks that the trader needs. Now I'm really curious about what they're gonna want for the catalyst here, but we won't know yet. So the portal here does need 30 copper ingots, but since it's a longer process to make the pipes, I think we do that first. And we need 7 more, which is 35 more ingots, which is 70 pieces of copper here. So it's a good thing that we just sit here and harvest a whole bunch at a time. So it all gets swept up, brought back, plugged into the thing, and then all these go up here. 3 more pipes to go in here, and then the glass production can resume, and then run over here, collect a whole bunch of copper, replenish the one that is almost empty. It's a pretty good cycle. And now we actually have enough ingots to finish all the pipes that we need, at least for this bit here. And the other thing is copper sheets, which I haven't seen a need for yet, and also someone suggested making some of this wood pulp just to see if it unlocks something. Water go in there, enough wood to go in there just to see what happens. It's very quick to make, so we make some, and then we have it, but it doesn't unlock anything. So it might be something that the alchemy table wants, or whatever this catalyst is, but no new recipes. But here's the last pipe, so now we get click hardness 4. So now we can come up here to this weird little temple thing and harvest the crystals. And I think the trader wanted 10 of these, which that is a very shrill sound for the crystal to make. But we're also filling up this area very nicely. I wonder if it'll eventually just flow out the top here. Oh, sure enough, that's what it's doing. Just a calm little conveyor to push out the top of this place. There's really no reason for this. It's just fun to watch. But let's bring a lot of this back so we don't have to rush over there as often. And then we also need to use this to make crystal dust, which is probably also the alchemy table, but 10 crystals for you. And now we have the alchemy table, which also unlocked the catalyst blueprint. So, okay, you want 10 more crystals. Thankfully, we have those. And then copper wire and crystal dust. So let's resume the copper wire production. And all this wood and water gets dumped out. That could be thrown into planks. And thankfully, there's plenty of copper ingots on standby here to be made in wire, which you want 20 of those, goodness. But let's work on building the alchemy table. Except we need to increase the storage of buildings. Well, in that case, let's just go ahead and do that. Iron plates and planks. Thankfully, we have a few iron plates made up here, and then this one can be turned into more iron plates, which allows us to use the iron ingots that we made up here. And then what was this recipe that was needed? Planks, copper wires, copper pipes, and files, which is actually a very small alchemy table. I feel like that's a good area right in front of the portal there. So we can make this stuff, but it won't complete until we get to building storage. I think that's how that works. But for all of these specialty items that we need, we might need to make another forge. And I almost gave the iron plates to the trader, but they don't want that. Except we do need one more. That's annoying. But here, before we go over there, let's turn you into plank making as well, so we can get double the planks that we need, which will make us 20 and change. And accidentally picked up a copper pipe in there, but that's no biggie. So this copper pipe can go towards the portal, and the demand of copper is still pretty high. And since the charcoal demand isn't so high anymore, I think we can trade one of those over to be a copper smelter, just so we can make a whole bunch of more ingots. And this one is empty, so that's perfect. More copper ingots. But the next upgrade we should get is probably going to be the click strength, just so this can become a faster process, and same for the crystals. So there's more of those going. And then we should grab a little bit of extra iron ore to get that last plate that we need for that. Thankfully, there's enough here. I think this is enough. Get that going in there, we can make 3 more, and sure enough, that's what we need. And then you get a few more pieces of wire, and then all of these planks here amount to 25. And now we have much more copper ingots here. Although this is most of what we need for the portal here, so let's just dump this whole hand in there. And then 5 more in there, so that's all we need for that. Nice. And actually we need to rejuvenate the charcoal supply a little bit. There's quite a few places with less than 1 piece here. Now this should be enough planks for this, and sure enough it is, which is good because we could also use these to build the table right over here where we need 30 planks. So these 2 saw benches are not slowing down anytime soon. And then we just go ahead and distribute the charcoal where it's needed, and then the last iron plate can go to the thing. So now we have building storage upgraded, which thankfully is all that the alchemy table needed. So is that maxed out now? It actually isn't, surprisingly. Let's go ahead and see what we need for click power. Steel beams. Okay, so we can start that again with this, and then more steel beam production, which we don't need iron ingots for a while, so we can trade that over. And then we go back to collecting a whole bunch of iron ore, which the buildings now hold 30, so they actually hold more than we can carry. Not too sure how much we need to worry about that though. It is slightly less efficient just because it would need 2 trips to fill this whole thing, but I don't think we need to necessarily worry about that. The sucky thing is just how much steel beams it takes to make one of these things, or steel ingots it takes to make one of these things. Thankfully there's 3 off to the side here, so it makes it ever so slightly easier. But here we go with more planks to put into the table, and that is, ooh, just shy of enough. So let's empty this table and then put it in here, and then it's just water. And then we still need copper wire and copper other things, so let's go ahead and build that forge like I said I was gonna do. It's an interesting staggering, but it should work. And then we actually need the stone blocks again, surprisingly. So this other table here can go back to doing that. And now the alchemy table can get all the things for that, as far as planks go. And then we need iron ingots somewhere, maybe with another one of these charcoal makers. So there they go with that. But if we do fill up the smelter fully, then that makes 15 iron ingots at once. So I think that's still worth doing, at least for the short term of we need to build this thing. And then for the steel ingots, it's a whole bunch of charcoal. And then we actually need to come up here to grab a bit more stone to complete all the stone blocks that we need. There's so many things to try and keep running at once, it's a little hard to focus on. But fundamental is definitely copper at this point, and then even more charcoal for this thing. And you go in there, and there should have been another charcoal furnace, I thought. Or we converted it to other things already, like 3 things for copper ingots. Might be a bit overkill at this point, but also we need so much of it, it honestly probably isn't. At the very least, we can try to make all the files that we need by turning this over to that process. We resume the glass production, and then as long as we get enough iron ore, that single steel ingot smelter should have enough in it to make all the steel beams that we need. There's one right there, which is number 2, so we just need 8 more. So 40 steel ingots, which would take 40 pieces of charcoal. Okay, so we don't quite have enough there, but at least we have a large volume of stuff in there as soon as we get more charcoal going on. But hey, the first file, which thankfully just needs 5. And then all these ingots over here can be made into, we already switched it over. Well, at least we have them, but then more iron ingots go in, and we just need like 7 more there, which that should be enough, as long as we refill the charcoal. And then plenty more ingots in there. And the rest of the iron ingots that we need can go straight into here. And of course, more stone blocks. It's always a thing you don't expect you need. Also because I didn't realize that the table stopped for so long, because there's no water. That would be why. But now we have another file to go to the tables, so we just need like 15 more glass. And the hard part about that is that it's not an even amount of sand and ash that's needed for one of those. So the math is kind of weird, at least for me. I'm sure the comments has a bunch of super geniuses that figured it out already. But now the glass production can resume, and then we might as well just fill up the ash maker right away, because that's what's needed the most. But now we have the rest of the stone blocks, so another furnace is up. And by furnace, I mean forge. So we fuel that up, set this to probably the copper pipes. Oh, and there was actually a thing for the crystal dust, which is just crystal. Easy, but we don't have to worry about that yet. Let's get the copper pipes going and get the copper pipes that we need. Do we put them in the table? I think we put them in the table. We only need 5 for that. And then it's actually just one more piece of glass to make a file. The last one that we need. I'm hoping that when the alchemy table is complete, then it's just a few more steps until we can finish the portal entirely. Although it really makes me wonder what recipes are gonna be in this. Maybe just the catalyst, which I feel like might just be a little bit of everything. But we can switch this over, probably to the crystal dust, so that we can start to do that for the trader. And oh, that was actually a very quick process. I only looked away for a second. But here's your first little bit of crystal dust. So let's get a whole bunch more of those. All the bits that are here get recollected. So we can actually make 5 crystal dust very fast. Look at that, it's only 2 seconds. 2 tekkens, is what I almost said. But now there's 8 tekkens. So thankfully all those amounts get thrown in there very fast. And then all the crystal dust is right there for the trader. So now it's just more copper wire that they need. So this can go back to that. And on that note, we probably should make a whole bunch more copper ingots. And quite a few of these are running very low on charcoal. So it's about time that we refueled all of that. So that goes there, and then this goes here, over there. All these come up here. The pipe goes down here, and then it's actually the last one we need there for the table, but there's still more needed for the portal, so let's continue putting copper into that. And then of course the charcoal is needed for the steel ingots as well, but we only need 3 more steel beams. And thankfully this thing only needs 15, but I think we can be done with the iron ingots for a little bit, so that can be more copper made there, like we were doing a little bit ago. Now we just need 4 more steel ingots. Thankfully we have enough iron ore and charcoal in there to make this work. So that's pretty much set for these steel beams that we need, which is good. But there's definitely much more copper that's needed. Oh, so much copper. Some of the charcoal actually needs to come down here. And probably just refill the charcoal maker's fuel reserves so that it never runs out for a long time. But here we go. The last steel beam is in production. And plenty of copper pipes are well on the way because of how much copper ingots we have in reserve. Or not reserve, in production. And actually we can get quite a bit of glass made as well, because I feel like the catalyst whatever is gonna need more files. And here we go, steel beam in, so we have better click power, which still isn't maxed out. There's also this sprint upgrade, which I kind of forgot about because it didn't feel like very long moving across the island as is. What does this even need? Iron ingots. That's actually really easy. This has all the iron ore it needs in there, so let's just change this over to iron ingots. Which of course is gonna dump it out of there, and we're just gonna put it right back in. But that should solve the iron ingots that we need. So hopefully we're done with steel ingots for a while. And then I think we can start to put copper towards making more wires. And we just need 2 more copper pipes for this stage of the portal. So there we go. Moving fast. How much faster is that? We move and then, woo, that actually is really nice. I wish I had that sooner. Probably why it was so cheap to get. And here we have done it. Stage 3 of the portal. Complete. For one single layer. And now it takes copper wire, and there's the copper sheets, which that really didn't add much to the portal, surprisingly. But let me guess, the copper sheets is just even more copper ingots. 3 of them at a time. Goodness. And is it worth getting this auto-click upgrade? We've already gotten it a few times. Charcoal and iron plates. We do have all this iron ore we're not using. Maybe we should just go ahead and do that. Just doing a few side objectives before we resume things. But now since we need so much copper wire, I think we focus on that. And then when all the iron plates are made, then we can switch that over to more copper things. Oh, the sprint upgrade is so nice. I can't believe I was moving so slow before this whole time. Bunch of copper ingots are on the ground here. We have plenty to start production on the copper. Where was the wires? Did I get rid of the wires? Well, we only need 10 sheets, so maybe we should just knock that out really quick. Which just takes 30 ingots. And that's that. So we'll have 10 copper sheets on the way in no time. And then 2 more iron plates there. Get all this iron ingots in here out of the way. And then sure, copper pipes, because those are needed over here too. Oh, never mind, it was the wires. Dump everything out of here. Change this to wires. might as well get that going. And it only needs 2 for one of those, so that's good news for how many that we need. And of course, all these smelters and furnaces are using an insane amount of charcoal. But here's a good chunk of wires here to make a little under half of the table. But here's all the copper sheets that we need for the portal. Perfect. And then this can be changed over to wires. But surprisingly, this auto-click thing wants charcoal. So I guess instead of the furnaces, we gotta put some towards that. And now we actually have a complete alchemy table here. Amazing. So, whoa. Okay, there's a lot of essences here that we need. And that's the callus that we need. But these other essences we should be able to make. And we actually need to increase it. Oh, wow. Okay. That needs 40 wood for the wood essence. I'm guessing we need to get all of these essences to activate the portal. Hopefully, by the time we actually get to doing that, everything will be in place so we don't need to do anything extra. And then we should definitely get the copper wires that the trader needs out of the way, since that's the last thing that they really want. So here you go. All the copper wires. And now that should actually be everything that the trader was looking for. So our business with them is done. It's been a pleasure. Not sure how long you're gonna stick around here, but enjoy the view, I guess. And then these can go towards the portal, since we still need 30 for this. And how many more iron plates do we need? We still need 5. And of course, these things go through so much coal. It's honestly surprising. Like literally all these things need so much more coal here. So to make a catalyst instead, it's thankfully a whole lot cheaper. 5 copper ingots and 3 crystal dusts, 5 water, and a file. This feels like it's gonna get expensive very quickly. But thankfully, now that we have that click strength upgrade, the iron ore is a lot easier to get. So we should have the rest of those iron plates in no time at all. So now the obelisk has all the charcoal it needs. And of course, the amount of files we need is not gonna be in any short amount. At least now the charcoal can go back to fueling the machines, of which they are sorely needed. So we have half of the copper wires for this stage of the portal. Genuinely, I thought there was only gonna be 4 stages. It's like, you know, basic stuff, and then iron, and then copper, and then crystal. But it's not so easy. Okay, last iron plate goes in. So auto-click upgrade is there. But now we definitely need more building storage yet again. Oh no, more steel beams? Why is it more steel beams? Oh goodness, more charcoal again. But look at how much faster the iron is coming out now. Pretty soon this is gonna be bubbling over everywhere. Honestly makes me want to upgrade the carrying capacity. But let's see, let's switch you to steel ingots, pump you in there. Run up here, grab the wood, which thankfully is all still there. And then a whole bunch of charcoal goes into production. And now copper wires can fill this thing up pretty nicely for 10 more wires. 10 more steel beams, my goodness. Should we take a break from the ash maker? I think we do, just to make more steel ingots for this. It's not like we're really short on iron ore to fill in there, but hopefully this goes from 30 to 40 instead of 35 and then 40, because that's just gonna be annoying. But now we just need 5 more copper wires, which should happen after these are done. So does anything in the catalyst, or not the catalyst, the alchemy table need copper wire? There's earth there, iron, which is iron ingots and steel ingots. There's copper essence, which thankfully is just the ingots. Okay, so nothing really needs copper wire after this, hopefully. I feel like there might be a sneaky upgrade that wants it, but here we go. Stage 4 of the portal, complete. So, ooh, energy crystals. That's honestly the easiest part of this. Wait, energy crystals? That was something else in the furnace, wasn't it? Was it one of these? It was there. So this wants glass and crystals, and we need how many of these? 7. So 35 glass is what we need. That's not so bad, but we can't trade this out either because we need to make more glass. So it's a little bit of an interesting thing there. I hope I don't have to make another one of these, because that means another thing I have to fill with charcoal. So what can we trade to make the energy crystals? Probably one of these things or both of them. So let's get the steel ingots out of the way first, which of course amounts to a whole lot of charcoal being made. And maybe we do need to make a smelter. It does feel like we're kind of at that point. So there we have another thing that we have to keep constantly fueled, but we can make this to be the energy crystals. And all the glass that we're making here can immediately go into there. Although I just remembered that we turned the ash making smelter into steel ingots, so it's not quite as straightforward as that. Unless we want to make another one. And I'll be honest, I don't really want to, but I probably have to. And let's not forget about the copper wire production, since so much is needed. Or we don't anymore. I totally forgot that we moved past this. But that does mean that we can move these over to, instead of being copper production, we can make this one the energy crystal one, or the ash one. That works too. But now these things also need crystal dust. So we can switch over one of these to be the crystal dust maker. And then we go and collect a whole bunch of these again, which is only ever so slightly quicker to do. And it really makes me wonder about the water that's surrounding this thing. It's looking like Moses been here. But let's go ahead and make a whole bunch of crystal dust, which 5 at a time just for dust. That is insane, even if it is fast. But we are starting to make the energy crystals, yes. So for 7 of these, we need 14 crystal dust, which means even more crystals. I'm just glad they're made really fast, but we have our first energy crystal. Slap that in there, and then get a bit more glass in there, refill the ash, and then use this crystal dust up here, I suppose. 2 more crystals. I haven't been paying attention to how fast they're made, but it does seem fast. And now it's time to get more iron ore for the steel, though we don't need too many more steel beams. I just kind of wonder if the next upgrade is gonna require steel beams. Just need 3 more. Okay, so the energy crystals take 10 seconds to make, just like most of everything else. Why am I not surprised? But now we have the last steel beam for this storage upgrade in the buildings, and it goes up by... Oh, it only went up by 5. Why did it only go up by 5? Oh, but this needs copper pipes now. Okay, that's a lot better than steel. Get that going. Get all of these in there. I'm just sad I made so much wire. But that's crystal number 4. Really quick, what does it take to increase our hand size? Copper ingots? Oh, that's actually easier than the pipes, I think, but it costs so many. At least we can change over all of these to copper, because we should be done with that. And then we go ahead and triple our copper production, which one of them is already halfway done by the time we fill all of them. So this is gonna be quite the repetitive back and forth. Yay me. So we have all the crystal dust we need for the last 2 energy crystals. We just need 10 pieces of glass. And this is 15 copper ingots that can go in there very easily. 10 more there. And of course, one of the copper ingot makers stops because we ran out of fuel in there. Actually, 2 of them did. Great. Anyway, here's a hand size increase, so we can carry 30 things now. But let's get copper in there, or not copper, charcoal in there, and then we make more pipes. And we should have enough glass here to make the last energy crystal. Probably not ever, but definitely for this stage of the portal. So we plug both of those in, like so. Ooh, very nice. And now we add the essences. Now, the wood essence was actually cheap, although it does need catalyst, and I never mind about it being cheap. 40 wood there. But here, this is good enough. Let's get more building storage so we can start to put these copper pipes towards something. And we utilize the bigger hand size to bring even more copper ingots or copper ore back. I'm hoping that we don't have to invest any more resources in upgrades, and then we can just spend everything towards unlocking the portal. It feels really close to achievable right now. And since it takes 2 copper ores to make the ingots, I think 30 hand size is gonna carry us pretty well right now. And then you go up there, we put 2 more of you in there, and then we grab these. And then that's 5 more copper pipes already, so we just need 3 more. Which this one actually will do that for us. So the building size increase there was actually really achievable. And now that should be enough for the alchemy table. So let's start working on the wood essence. First we grab the wood, which is the easiest part of this. Dump in 30 at a time. So this is where we make the wood pulp. First little bit goes in there, and then the copper pipes I hope we're done with. And how quickly is wood pulp made again? I kinda forget. We've only made 1 of them. Oh, 2 seconds, that's super easy. But this also needs a catalyst, and we need 5 of those for this. So let's maybe do that first, which needs a lot of water, copper ingots. Thankfully, we're making those in mass. A lot of crystal dust in a file. This is... Oh wait, I was looking at the wrong number. I was looking over here. We have all the water that we need. Let's see, we need 5 catalysts. So we might as well just fill this thing up, because all the essences I think are gonna need a catalyst. So that's full there. Let's just clear some of this out of the way. And then we need to get the production line set up for vials. So I think you can be made for that. And then you, copper, can go into here. And then even more there and more there. We still have this for crystal dust, so that's good to go. Just as soon as we get the crystals, 30 at a time should be very beneficial. So we can get 6 crystal dusts at a time, of which we need 3 for one of these, but we'll need 15 total, so let's just go ahead and get more. And this is all for just 1 essence. But here we go, that goes into the table as well. But then we have enough of that there, that there, that there, and then we need a file. Well, 5 of them. So glass is also something that needs to happen. This is quite a lengthy chain of production that we need to do here. Hopefully though, it gets easier as we continue making the other essences. And hopefully the essence doesn't take a long time to make. So at the very least, we have 1 vial here. So let's see how long this takes. Oh, just 5 seconds. That's really easy. And there's our first catalyst. Now we need 5 of these to make a wood essence. So let's just keep feeding this thing vials. And hopefully a lot of the materials overlap, so it's not like we make one and then everything else goes to waste. And since we have all the crystal dust we need for this, we can swap this over, also to vials, just because they take so long to make. Even though the glass does as well, we might need a second glass furnace somewhere. Oh, I didn't realize we had 2 ash burners here. That's a little awkward. Or it'd be very useful because the ash is used a whole lot, but because the glass is so slow to make, let's go ahead and just use 2 glasses. We'll just make sure this one is filled plenty with sand and actually has some ash in there, so that's good too. But I guess the part of this is also putting the glass into this thing so we can actually use it, but everything for that still works. So file number 5 can go to make the wood essence. Or I mean the 5th catalyst, and then we go ahead and turn everything over. Probably move or hold on to these for a little bit. Wood essence. As everything gets dumped out of there, but the catalyst can go in. And we just need 1 more vial for the wood essence. But there is definitely going to be a whole lot more vials that are needed. So we get the wood back in there, a bit more. The rest goes to charcoal. So much charcoal. And then this is just a mess of things down here. Let's try to separate the copper. And then the wood pulp that I didn't recognize we needed a lot of, but I guess we do. We need 25 wood pulp. That is crazy. And that should really be the only thing that's holding up the production of this wood essence aside from the vial, which is a problem that is very quickly solved. And here are all the wood essences. Or we definitely overstocked. I keep looking at this number thinking that that's what it is, but it's this one. But either way, we have enough for the wood essence. So the vial goes in and we brew it up right there. And there we have it, the wood essence. To go straight into the portal. So actually the first crystal is lit up. And then it's earth essence next. So sadly, all this wood pulp is no longer usable. You hate to see it. You also hate to see that we have to make 5 more catalysts. So, okay, if there's 7 essences and we just made 1, that's 6 left. So we need 30 catalysts. That is gross, but we'll just have to do it. The refined stuff like files and crystal dust is gonna be a little annoying, especially the copper ingots, but at least stuff like water is really easy to do. We'll just fill up the table with as much as we can, so there's gonna be a lot of copper ingots being made. So it's also good that we have a lot of charcoal in reserve. And then this means we should also get going on all the vials that we need. And then all the crystal dust as well, which it is kind of good that this takes a bit longer to harvest because then that lets the other smelters do their thing. And I just remembered that we have some crystal dust sitting over here. It's been a weekend, all right? But all the files are here, so we should have enough to make all the catalysts needed for the earth essence time. And sandstone and catalyst, so I guess the iron essence, oh no, the copper essence is what we needed all the copper for, of course. But here's another file for that, and then it's just a whole bunch of stone. So we plug all of that in there, and we need 20 sand, and then we have the earth essence. In no time at all, perfect. So that gets plugged in there. And then it's the iron essence, which of course needs more catalysts. But we could also probably work on our steel production in the meantime. Thankfully it's not steel beams, just steel ingots. And we do have some iron ingots off to the side that we can plug in early, and some iron ore here that can go into a steel maker. But of course we need more catalysts, so all of this dumped out here can go right back into the table. But it is also good that we have all these copper ingots to the side, so even if they're not for the copper essence just yet, they can be used for the catalysts. Which, if there's someone that's like studied alchemy or alchemical methods, can you explain the importance of copper and why we need a lot of it? Because it feels a little ridiculous at this point. So far we do have 9 steel ingots over here. We can turn this back to the iron essence. And we already have 16 iron ingots. So this is going pretty quick. It's just making the steel that's the annoying part. But while all that's being made, we resume the file production. But thankfully, everything's in place that we can get the steel ingots very quickly. Iron essence coming right up. It almost feels like we're speeding through this. I love it. Copper essence next, which of course is 40 copper ingots. And we've already bitten to the supply a little bit here, but there's 30. And then the steel is done, so we can switch this over again. Not really sure if we're needing the iron ore anymore, because after this, there's 1, 2, 3 essences. The fire might want that, or that's where the charcoal comes in. So we might need to queue up a whole bunch of charcoal, even though we kind of need to for these smelters anyway. And now we can work on making the copper essence. And thankfully, we have enough copper ingots. Copper essence, check. Plug that in. And then it's water. This is probably the easiest one. Oh, it also wants charcoal. Interesting. But of course, catalysts come first. But there we get it covered. And then the water essence gets all this charcoal for whatever reason. Catalysts go in, the file goes in, and then we just collect all the water. If only the rest of them were this easy. Although, at the speed that we're going through them, they kind of are that easy, which goes to show how good our production is, despite what potential comments might say. But the water essence is here, so that's all that matters. And then there's just 2 more. We're getting close to finishing the portal here. And I love that each essence is its own stage. So this portal is a very lengthy project. Fire wants 40 wood and only 15 charcoal. But at this point, we should have enough charcoal stored over here. So now when we switch over to fire essence, all those get plugged in and we have a little bit extra. Neat. And then whole bunch of wood, which I kind of wish there was a statistic of how many wood pieces were harvested, because it feels like it's gotta be in the thousands at this point. But there we go, 40 wood. And what are we short of? A file. Right over here. Fire essence, check. And then the last one, hopefully, crystal essence. So what is needed for this? Just raw crystal? Okay, 40 rock crystal, but also 10 crystal dust. And then the crowd favorite, catalysts. All right, 5 more catalysts. We need more copper. We need more copper. Don't worry about it. Which I thought we had a bunch set off to the side, but I guess we didn't. So this is the part where the catalyst production slows down. We don't talk about it. We just make it, queue up the crystal essence, and then all this crystal dust that we make can go right back into the table. But now we just need 40 crystals. So there's 30 over here. Slap that in. Run back over here. So that goes right into the table. And then we're making it. The crystal essence. Hopefully this completes the portal. Get that going. Plug it in. Yes! We did it! We queued up the portal. Do you want to leave the island? I think yes. There's no reason for us to stay here, because we've also collected all the achievements on this journey. So we shall leave. Goodbye, trader. Really managed to finish the portal. Great work. Guess it is time to say goodbye for now. So, okay, you came here on a license to teleport. Is this gonna get me in trouble with, like, I don't know, magic police? Stay a bit longer and enjoy the sun. Maybe you can come and visit my shop sometime. Sure. I'll sell you some more steel beams, you freak. And the obelisk is saying goodbye too. I sensed our time together was coming to an end. We have learned a lot while we were here. And for the obelisk, it was nice having some company. What are you? Is there a dude trapped in there? Hello, how are you? I am under the obelisk. Please help me. If you need help with your magical studies again, feel free to come back. Well, hopefully it'll be on purpose, but we go through the portal. And thank you for playing. We did it. We completed Click Mage. That was a lot of fun. It's nice to have a clicker game with an objective other than big number. Although big numbers are still fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure you hit subscribe. And if there are other fun things like this you want to see, then be sure to let me know. Thank you for watching and sub to Intern. And I would like to thank the channel members, including Bread, Corby Farm, Dakota, Donamoto, Deviant X, Ancient Elixir, Matthew, Haple Harold, Peggy Sue, Drupalong, Lily Bites, The Miner Within, DeGarity, Sands, V, Killer Squad, Mousy Mouse, Nicholas, Igor Shradi, McKenna Chan, and Liam.